Everyone wants to be in love, but not everyone is fortunate to have a faithful. Often, I tell my friends that it is better to be single and not get hurt than to be in love and end up with a lying, deceitful and cheating partner, because such people leave terrible scars on our hearts. Hi, everyone. My name is Lucas, 29. And I had my heart crushed by my ex-girlfriend, Maya, 26, who I thought would be my life partner. Before I met Maya, I used to be the guy who was passionate about his job. I hung out with my friends and colleagues, and I was always looking for ways to improve myself, like learning how to cook foreign meals, learning anew, and doing other things that I loved. I loved women and the pleasure they could give, but I was not into women, not because I'm attracted to men, but because of the pain I had seen my father and uncle go through. As unbelievable as it sounds, both my father and his older brother had been married twice. And each time the women left, my mom left my dad when I was only 5 years old, and my stepmom left again when I was 17. As a child and teenager, I had seen my father hurt over and over when he found out that the women he loved were either cheating on him or they found someone better and they didn't want to be with him anymore. My uncle, on the other hand, suffered the same fate, and his was even worse because his second wife cheated on him and left with half of everything he had worked for all of his life. So from what I had seen in my family, I made an early decision in life that I wouldn't be in a relationship. And if I were to be in one, it wouldn't be a serious one. And it wouldn't be a serious one, and it would just be a disguise for friends with benefits. Even in high school, I didn't have a girlfriend like all of my friends did. I just had a friend whom we would sneak out at night together and get intimate. It was a simple trade by barter. I would meet her needs and she would meet mine. All of this continued for years until I eventually clocked 25, and that was when I met the devil in person, Maya, my ex-girlfriend. I worked in an organization where everyone had a relationship with one another, and being a social person made me close to my coworkers. We all got along pretty well, and we attended one another's birthday party, hung out together on Friday evenings, and we'd even hang out on the weekends too. But there was one thing my coworkers teased me about a lot, and it was because I was the only single one amongst our small group. They were always trying to hook me up with a girl, and they kept introducing me to their female friends. But no matter what they did, I was just not interested. I tried to explain to them multiple times, but they wouldn't listen. They said I was making hasty generalizations by thinking all women were the same because my father and uncle didn't get lucky, and they insisted that I gave love a chance. As time passed, their words started getting to me. And after nights of thinking things through, I decided to go for a blind date. They had collaboratively planned, and that was my first time of meeting Maya. She was a beautiful light-skinned girl with brown shirt hair, and she had the most beautiful eyes I had even seen. Aside from being beautiful, Maya was incredibly shy, but she was a great conversationalist. We talked about a lot of things on our first date. And, coincidentally, we shared similar interests. We both loved the same old-school music band, and I found out she was also learning to speak Portuguese like I was, sincerely. I enjoyed every second I spent with Maya on that day. And I looked forward to us having another date. After our first date, we fixed another and another until we couldn't stop seeing each other. She was a low-paid store worker, but I loved how she did her job with so much passion, and she was always looking for ways to grow and was eager to find new opportunities. My coworkers were impressed with how things were going with Maya and me. And they would even offer to buy us tickets to the movies so we could keep hanging out together, and it worked. No matter how I tried to put myself and my mind in check, I could not resist the pull I had towards Maya. She was attractive, 5'11" tall, and she was well endowed. I guess what I really loved about her was her matured mind. She was willing to do things with me with no strings attached, and we got intimate a couple of times before things got serious between us. As of the time we met, Maya told me she had recently broken up, and she was looking for someone who would genuinely love her. And I felt like I was ready to give love a shot. She was sweet and we got along. Shared the interest, and I loved how we spoke broken Portuguese to each other. She made me really happy, and she loved to spoil me in her little ways even when she wasn't earning much. Our friendship continued to grow, and I loved so close we were getting to each other. Eventually, I asked her to be my girl, and she said yes. After dating for about a month, I met her parents and I told them how much I loved their daughter, and how I wanted to be with her, and she met my dad too. Our love was sweet, smooth, and we were both happy. I even asked her to move in with me, and with her parents' permission, she did. I don't usually swear, but I did love Maya. I bought her all the fancy things a woman could own. The organization I was working for paid me well, so money was not a problem. I didn't allow her to contribute a penny to the house bills because I wanted her to be super comfortable. We went shopping together and I would pay for whatever she wanted. I got her gifts, expensive bags, human hairs, jewelries, bags, and I even shopped for her parents occasionally. The first few months of our relationship was fantastic. We didn't have any fights and we lived together in harmony. But as months passed, something happened and it changed things for a couple of months. Ideally, it wasn't supposed to be something that would be a big deal, but it was. The thing is, Maya and I used to get intimate a lot. We could do it more than 5 times in a week since it was something I loved. But one day while we were done doing it, I realized that the condom I wore was broken and the deed had been done. But Maya told me she was on birth control pills, so I didn't have to worry about her getting pregnant. Unfortunately, she did. We noticed that she was getting sick often, and her appetite increased too. Apart from that, she slept more, and I didn't even understand the weird cravings she was beginning to have. When we went to the hospital for her checkup, the results came out that she was pregnant, and we were both surprised. At that time, neither of us were ready to become a parent. So we both decided that it would be best for the both of us if she aborted the baby, and she did. But after the abortion, we began to experience tension between us. I think having an abortion took its mental toll on her, and she became a different person. She became more reserved and it affected our relationship. It got so bad that she even moved back to her parents' house, but we didn't tell her parents about the abortion because they would never agree to it. And for the weeks she spent at her parents' house, we barely communicated with each other, and I felt kind of empty and lonely during that phase of our lives. Luckily for us, we were able to work things out, and she moved back in with me. Though things were not like the first time we started dating, but we were still fine, and we continued to be there for each other. We supported each other's dreams, and we pushed ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves throughout our 3 years of dating. I watched Maya grow from the shy girl who could not make eye contact with strangers, to the bold and confident woman who could approach anyone she wanted. And she would be confident in her skin. She enrolled for public speaking classes and other self-development classes. And our Portuguese language even got smoother with time. It was beautiful seeing us stand by each other and being our own cheerleaders. With Maya in my life, I was finally beginning to think that I was wrong about women, but I didn't know that I was being deceived all this while. This is what happened before we clocked 3 years old together. For some reasons, I will not be sharing here. I went to do a vasectomy without telling Maya first. I wanted to inform her when I felt the time was right, but it was going to be before I proposed to her. But after our 3 years anniversary, Maya began to fall sick. I suspected that she was pregnant, but symptoms of her sickness were not similar to the first time she got pregnant, so I took her to an hospital to be sure. When we got there, the test results confirmed that she was 1 month pregnant, and I was confused. I had carried out the vasectomy 4 months before she got pregnant. So there was no way I was responsible for her pregnancy. But since I didn't tell her about the vasectomy, and telling her about it after we found out she was pregnant would mean I was denying being responsible. I didn't mention it to her and continued to be supportive in every way I could. While I remained supportive, I started doing research on the chances of getting a woman pregnant after 4 months of having a vasectomy, and the chances were very slim. I didn't want to believe that Maya was cheating on me and that the pregnancy she was carrying was not mine, but all the signs kept pointing in that direction. When I couldn't handle it anymore, I talked to one of my closest friends, and he advised that I searched the house or looked at her phone. And if at all, she was cheating. She could never be too careful and she would leave cues. I did as he said. And being someone who wasn't used to searching the house, I couldn't find something that tied her to cheating on me on that first day. I searched the house casually, but on the third day of searching, I found something shocking in our cereal box. She had an abortion drug inside an empty cereal box in the kitchen closet, and it didn't make sense to me to see an old and empty cereal box sitting in the middle of the closet. She had taken 8 pills out of 10, and that only meant that she had another more abortions after the first one that caused a rift in our relationship. I was very disappointed and devastated, and I couldn't even confront her about it. She was always talking about the baby and how I would be the best father in the world, even when she knew that I wasn't responsible. If at all heartbreaks could kill, I would have died on that day due to the impact of heartbreak I got. But thankfully, I didn't. I didn't understand why she chose to hurt me that way. Despite all the things I had done for her and all of the promises she made to me, I never did anything to hurt her. I treated her like an angel. I provided everything she wanted, and she even knew how much loyalty was important to me. But she went ahead to ruin everything we labored for and built for 3 years. When I found out that she was cheating on me, I wanted to know who the guy was and what he had that she chose him over me. One night while she slept, I used her fingerprint to unlock her phone and go through it. I searched and searched, and I could not find anything. Her WhatsApp messages were clean. Her other social media had nothing in it, and I was getting frustrated. Just as I was about to keep her phone, I noticed that she had some apps frozen, and when I checked the folder, I found a dating app there. I went through the dating app, and I found out she wasn't just cheating on me with one guy, but 2 guys, and they took turns to sleep with her. Funnily enough, one of them was her ex-boyfriend she told me about, and she was the one who found him there and not the other way around. When I found out all of this, I spoke with a lawyer, and he told me that if I had undeniable proof that I wasn't responsible for Maya's pregnancy, that I wouldn't need to take responsibility for the baby or for Maya, accordingly to the state's law. And that was such a relief. For the remaining months, I pretended like I was excited for her to give birth. Meanwhile, I rented a second apartment, and I was slowly moving my important things there without her noticing. I didn't want to confront her or tell her what I had found out yet. I wanted her to give birth before I broke the news to her, so she could also feel the pain of pretense and betrayal. Finally, D-Day came, and she gave birth to twins, 2 boys. I was in the hospital with her the night before, and on that morning, after she gave birth, I have heard the shocking news, and she could not believe it. She wanted to be mad at me for not telling her I had a vasectomy, but her sins outweighed mine. I made it sound like there was something I was excited to tell her, and the end of it shocked her. After I told her, I told the nurse not to add my name to the birth certificates because I was not the father of her children, and I left them there. She cried and begged to wait so she could explain, but I had everything planned out. When she left the hospital, she could not come back to my house because I told her I was moving to a new location that she would never find. So she went to her parents' house instead, but I also made plans to ruin everything for her there too. After she got there, I paid them a visit because her parents kept calling to find out why I didn't come over. I told them everything she did, and they were very disappointed in her. Her parents insisted that I did a paternity test. to be sure of what I was saying, and when the results came out, it proved I was not their father. Her parents were so ashamed of her that they kicked her out of the house. She begged me to forgive her and give her a second chance, but I didn't want anything with her or her children. So I left too, and I cut all ties with her family too. I blocked her number and blocked her number and blocked her on every social media platform we were friends on, including the ones we weren't. I never saw her again until 2 years again. I coincidentally bumped into her in a store and she was looking miserable. I was with a friend who knew her, so we were courteous enough to ask about her kids. Surprisingly, she said she didn't have them anymore. She said she was caught driving under influence with her kids in the back seat. And as a result of that, they were taken from her. It was pathetic to hear, but it was nothing compared to the hurt I felt. We said our goodbyes, and I didn't give her another opportunity to speak with me. I have moved on now, but I don't think anyone will be able to convince me to have anything serious with any other woman. I have learned my lesson, and I'll definitely be taking my own advice. Stop. Most of you are not subscribed. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the video. Everything helps for the algorithm.